Thanks for watching Blitz. I'm Brian Carter, kicking off the 2020-2021 school year with our first in-person interview here at Banks County High School. And for that, I bring in the reigning state champion, Lady Leopards head coach, Kelby Cronic. Coach, first of all, appreciate your time. Thank you for having me out here.
I appreciate you coming out here. It's always a pleasure having you out here. And love what you do for these kids in Northeast Georgia, doing this and putting it on and really focusing on bringing these kids up and, praising them for all their good accomplishments they do.
Absolutely, well deserving, and I know you guys got to be really excited about finally getting back to some sort of normalcy and being able to kind of feel just blessed to be able to get this season underway here. And just I guess you're down to about 10 days until the season starts. But talk about in the midst of this kind of chaotic world that we're living in right now with coronavirus, unfortunately being the term we're using all over the place. But how's your team kind of navigated through the ups and downs of that and trying to get your team ready? And how much do you feel they've been impacted by this?
Well, I think everyone's been impacted. That's no doubt about it. Being a small county that we are, we haven't had the numbers that most other people have had. The way we've kind of navigated around it, we've been adhering to the GHSA policies. We've been adhering to our Board of Education policies as well. But for the most part, we kind of come out here, we take their temperature, we do all the questionnaires and everything, but then we just try to treat it as it's a normal practice. Yeah. Coming out here and we look past coronavirus and all that stuff, and we're just here to focus on softball. Yeah. I want the kids to come out here and have fun. I feel like they got to kind of tippy-toe around and wonder, can I do this? Can I do that? Can I not do this? So we just come out here each day and we're just focused on softball. We try to let the world in itself, just kind of stand by the wayside while we focus on softball. So, it's been a little bit of a challenge, the pre-practice routines, the post-practice routines, sanitized and everything down. Yeah. Like I said, we're trying to focus on softball. That's been our biggest goal.
Yeah, and so the key component for you, opponent that you face this year is actually yourselves. I say that because a lot of teams that win anything of significance, especially a state championship, it can be really easy to rest on that success. It can be really easy to kind of fall into the fatigue that comes with the grind of that long season and carrying over into the next. But we call that the championship hangover. Right. How has your team? How have you made sure that your team avoids falling into that trap?
Well, we just focus. You look around out here now, and we've got our new scoreboard up and it says state champions up there, and I want the kids to look at it and say, these are the accomplishments that we've have earned. Mm-hmm. And I try to instill in my players that, it's kind of the old saying, yesterday's homers don't mean nothing for today's games. Mm. Last year's championships, last year's wins, that's the last year. Just like, we carried that number one ranking all last year, and I told my players last year, well, it's just a number. Yeah, we're the defending state champions, but that doesn't mean anything. Now you got to go back and you really got to defend it. Yeah. So as far as like the hangover thing, we focus every day. It's a new season. There's games to be won. There's plays to be made, and we're going to go out each day and we're going to fight for every win. It's a different team, it's a different dynamic, but we got to go out and do our job to be successful. It's not going to be handed to us, just like last year. Nothing was handed to us last year. We went out and earned it. And I tell my girls the same thing. If you want to go out and defend that title, you got to go out and earn it, because I promise you, nobody's going to lay down for us. I said everybody's coming for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Bullseye on the back mentality. Now, unfortunately, no coach is immune to turnover, and you had quite a bit the last 2 years, but this last group, very special. Led, of course, headlined by Tybee Denton, that, almost impossible to replace. You don't have another one of those just roaming in the hallways that you can plug in the lineup. But when you look at retooling the lineup, not getting into the pitching right now, but just so much the offense. You lose her, you lost Jill Martinet, Kaya Santiago, and a number of other players. But you do have some coming back. But how do you kind of fill in the gaps in that lineup for this season?
Well, coming back, filling the gaps, like you said, it's hard to replace a Tybee Denton. And, every program, once in a while, you get that pitcher or that player that just dominates and just really helps out a program. But it's one of those things where you can't, championships, you can't dwell on those players, you can't dwell on those championships. So coming back, retooling, we had a lot of younger players last year to back up. We have a tremendous sophomore group that was big and really backing up and really pushed those seniors last year to be as good as they were. I had several times last year, Jill Martinet, for instance, she was scared every day that a freshman was going to come behind and take her position because she was pushing her hard. So, that was great last year, having these younger girls really push those seniors to make them better. But in turn, it made those younger girls better. So coming back and redoing the lineup, we're gonna be young in some positions, but we're not going to be inexperienced. Sure. We've got girls who can come out and play the game and play the game at the same level, I think, as some of the girls that left. So, I mean, I think going through there, our hitting lineup, I'm not worried about our hitting lineup. I'm actually very confident in what we're going to do at the plate. You know, like I said, in the field, we've had to redo our entire outfield. But who we've replaced our outfielders with, I'm confident in their ability, and we're going to go out there and win ball games.
That's always the fun part of seeing those the next man up mentality, see who steps up and makes a name for themselves. And let's circle back, and pun intended there, to pitching, because as great as Tybee was as a hitter, we've never seen anything like her as a pitcher. I mean, just absolutely dominant. I would argue to say a better pitcher than a hitter, but very incredible athlete. But how do you replace that production in terms of aggregate? Or again, I don't think you have someone that can just plug in and put those numbers up, but what's your approach from the pitching standpoint?
Approach from the pitching standpoint is, it's hard to replace a pitcher who struck out 412 batters last year. You know, I think it was six no-hitters or 8 no-hitters, 15 or 16 shutouts. I mean, that's hard to replace that. I mean, that, like I said, that's one of those once-in-a-lifetime things possibly. I hope we have one again, and every coach does. But, you know, coming back in the circle, we had some girls last year who came in. Lindsey Crawford came in last year and pitched a few games for us and was very successful. J.C. Ayers also came in and pitched a few games, and she was very successful. So I'm looking at those two this year kind of being a 1-2 punch with each other. Coming in there, do I expect 14, 16 strikeouts a game like Tybee was doing? No, I don't expect that. But they're still going to manufacture a good bit of strikeouts. We're going to have to play a little bit more defense, but our defense is solid, so I'm not really worried about it. So I'm not really, scared as far as, I don't have Tybee in the circle.
Yeah.
You know, I'm looking forward to go out there because, I mean, a lot of my kids last year was like, hey, can you let them hit the ball? We'd like to play too. So, I mean, I think our girls are looking forward to a chance to get to play some more defense this year. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's fun when you're the coach and you're striking out that many players every game. You don't have a lot to worry about. But definitely in the circle, I don't think we're going to really lose anything. Yeah. We're going to have a good dynamic, a good rotation out there. And we've got, like I said, those young girls, they've got experience. They've been pitching over the summer. And it's definitely going to be fun to watch, definitely.
Yeah, and the great thing is you have your daughter coming back for her senior year, Kelby Cronic, who just has been a significant leader on this team for quite a number of years now. But now she takes on a different kind of role as not just leading by example in her play, but on and off the field being that senior leader. Is it fair to say that as Maddie goes, the team goes this year?
Yes and no. I think being one of our 2 seniors we have this year. These girls, a lot of them actually grew up watching her play. They were the kids standing outside the fence when she was growing up playing. Hey, there's Maddie, looking at her. And now they're playing with her. They're stepping on that field each day, taking their reps with her. And it's kind of surreal. Yeah. But to say that, if she goes, the team goes, I think we've got a good dynamic, a good family bond here with the players that, we're always here to pick each other up. Mm-hmm. I hate putting a lot of emphasis on just one player. I mean, I don't want to say that Maddie's got to go out and she's got to carry the team because, that puts a lot of pressure on a kid that none otherwise doesn't need to be put there. Mm-hmm. I mean, a lot of teams say, we're going to build our program around this one player. And that's just not how my program is. I mean, it takes 9 girls to win a ball game. Even with Tybee, who strikes out 14 players, we still had to put up runs, and it took the whole team to put up runs. Yeah. I'm looking for Maddie to go out there, put up great numbers at the plate, play solid defense, and, when it comes time to it, I'm hoping she's going to go out there and really pull her team together when they start getting down. Hey, we've got to get it together. We can do this. So, but asking her to, lead the charge, yeah, she's a senior, and I think she has experience. She has the capability of doing that. Mm-hmm. But I also want her to instill that to those younger girls that, when I'm out of here, you guys got to take over too. Yeah. And I want you to kind of follow in the footsteps that have been laid down not only by her, but by the girls that were in front of her in this program. And just lead on and, continue the tradition of coming out here, winning ball games, and being successful. Yeah.
And now last year, I remember we did an interview, early on in the season, maybe even preseason or right there in the first couple of weeks. And, again, the number 1 ranking was there. But as you said, you had to earn that. You had to that was just a number. But you still felt confident this was a team that was going to go on and win a state championship. Nothing less would have been successful in y'all's eyes. And so because you predicted that kind of success, I feel confident that you could look again in your crystal ball here and tell us when the dust settles this season, where will we see Banks County end up?
Where we see Banks County end up, I'll say first and foremost, we lost 7 seniors. our first and foremost goal is we want to get back to Columbus. That is our goal in general. Do I think we have what it takes to defend a state title? Absolutely. But it's one of those things where you got to get back to Columbus to defend that title. I think we have the right tools and everything in place that we can go through. Now, with the shakeups in the region, it's going to be a little bit different. I mean, I know I've already seen how the first and second rounds line up, and it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy for anybody because a lot of teams across AA lost a lot of players last year. So I think it's going to be interesting just to see how a lot of teams face up and who winds up in the Columbus this year. I don't think you're going to see the same teams that you normally do in AA down there. I'm pretty confident that we're going to be one of those 8 making our trip down to Columbus. And, I'll take something from Coach Bowen when I was coaching with him. It's you just got to get to the dance. Yeah. Once you get to the dance, you can do whatever you want to do. You just got to get there first. And our job is, we're going to get to the dance, and once we get there, we hope to take the trophy back home with us again next year.
Absolutely. We've seen it time and time again. Anything happens when you get to Columbus. Yeah. So thanks again for your time, Coach. Really appreciate it. Can't wait to see the season unfold.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me out here, man. Yes, thank you.